If there is another comms tower in range, it will connect to the existing network of comms towers and expand the area you can see. Now, we can supply this comms tower thanks to the RTG. The communications tower is operational now. Use the map key to open it.
It's the map, interactive map. Press the map key M to access the map.
Good work. Now proceed to your next objective.
Yes, what is that? Close map. Yes, that was the power. Yes, this one makes the power. I not remember what this was.
A cable spool can contain up to 5 power cables. As a cable is 10 meters long, they are rolled up on the spool for easier transport. Learn more about power cables by using the speaker. Power cables have a red end and a green end. The red is for input, for example to a machine producing energy like the RTG, and the green is for output, for example to a machine requiring energy like the communications tower. Observe the sockets on each machine. The color code will inform you about the correct connection, red to green or green to red. You can unwind the cable by clicking on the spool with the unwind key. To rewind the cable, just grab the cable and hold it onto the spool, then press the same key again.
Left.
Easy, right? Now grab that cable and rewind it onto the cable spool. Now that you've learned how to handle power cables, move on to the power hub. This is a power hub. It serves as a connector bridge between power generators and machines. The power hub has 6 red input sockets on the right and 6 green output sockets on the left. It allows you to connect a maximum of 6 power generators to the input sockets and distribute power to up to 6 machines via the output sockets. The display on the left shows a sum of power generated in the electricity network, or grid, expressed in watts. The right shows the current electricity load. The bottom line informs about the power stored in the hub batteries and the estimated load duration. As you can see behind you, you can connect several hubs together to reduce the amount of cables needed for supplying the machines with electricity. Plug that cable to an input socket before we move on.
Connect cable. Connect the power cable to the machine. Yes.
Now, it's time to have a look at the solar array. A solar array, also referred as a solar panel, absorbs the rays of the sun and processes them into electricity. The solar array is made of 2 panels that convert the solar power to electricity, utilizing the photovoltaic effect. 2 additional batteries can store up to several kilowatts per hour of electricity. One solar array can generate over 2 times more power than the RTG. However, its efficiency depends exclusively on the amount of solar energy available. It's also provided with 2 output sockets and a power display. Now plug in that cable to connect the solar array to the power hub. Great! You now have the required knowledge about power generators for your future mission on Mars. That should come in handy.
I am not sure I have that.
Different machines you will have at your disposal. Please proceed to the machines area. Each machine comes in 2 versions, a large one and a small one. We will start with the topsoil extractor.
Topsoil extractor.
This is a topsoil extractor. Its sole function is to extract the soil from the surface.
Topsoil extractor stands close to the topsoil extractor to learn more. Need some power. Yes, I have to move it to the right position. No, it has to be down, then there. What learn you need about topsoil. Stand close, learn more about it. Okay, I have to forgot that.
Topsoil extractor uses a flexible hose to gather the surface of the soil in the same way as a vacuum cleaner. The extracted resource is collected into barrels that must be plugged in prior to its usage. It has two input sockets for its energy supply, such as a standard display informing about its energy usage. The large topsoil extractor, like this one, proposes 4 barrel plugs. A small version, less energy demanding, embarks only one plug. Use that cable to supply the topsoil extractor so we can use it. Perfect. We can now continue with the atmospheric processor.
Atmospheric processor.
This is the atmospheric processor. It captures the surrounding atmosphere.
Yes. Stand close to the atmospheric processor to learn. Yes, that's the speaker. Have to click the speaker.
The atmosphere is drawn in through an air pump and redirected into resource barrels that collects the air. The large atmospheric processor accepts up to 5 barrel plugs, whereas the small energy-efficient atmospheric processor proposes 1 plug only. Connect the cable so we can collect the Earth atmosphere. Perfect. Now that the machine is powered, you have to plug in the resource barrel for it to start working. Now, connect the barrel to an empty slot. When properly supplied with energy, the machine starts to operate immediately.
It needs to be down, like there.
Let the processor work and move to the drilling rig.
Yes, drilling rig.
This is a drilling rig, used for excavation. A twist drill bit penetrates the crust with a fast rotation. The raw material is then lifted up through a borehole via the cutting edges. The extracted rock is stored into barrels. This large drilling rig proposes 4 barrel slots and a standard display panel, while the small version has 1 plug. Connects the machine to a cable so we can dig up some earth rock.
This needs some power, of course.
Perfect. Now that the machine is powered, you have to plug in the resource barrel for it to start working. There should be one line nearby. Now, connect the barrel to an empty slot. When properly supplied with energy, the machine starts to operate immediately.
I have to turn it right. Just left click.
On each machine, do not omit to pay attention to the power display. You can monitor the machine's energy requirements, the overall power available on the grid, and the potential usage duration. Do not forget that a machine cannot operate with barrels filled with improper resources. For example, an earth soil barrel plugged to a drilling rig. If you do so, the machine would just stop working. Do not get confused. Let's move on to the next machine.
Let's not get confused. And there's 10 different kinds of
This is a
machines.
materials refinery, a beautiful piece of engineering that can refine raw resources into materials or compounds.
That's the refinery.
The materials refinery has two main functions. It can either split complex materials into their constituent components, or it can synthesize compounds from core materials. Input and output slots are located on each side of the refinery. The large materials refinery comes with 3 input and 5 output slots. The small one has respectively 2 input and 3 output slots. A control panel allows for the operations of the desired reaction. Plug in the cable so we can start to put our hands on this machine. The materials refinery has two main functions. It can either split complex materials into their constituent components, or it can synthesize compounds from core materials. Input and output slots are located on each side of the refinery. The large materials refinery comes with 3 input and 5 output slots. The small one has respectively 2 input and 3 output slots. A control panel allows for the operations of the desired reaction. Plug in the cable so we can the refinery is now powered. Why don't we try it out on some raw material we've just collected? Let's split some rock. Take one of the earth rock barrels from the drilling rig and plug it into a free input slot of the refinery.
Need some barrels. That's the one here.
Remember, input slots are on the left of the materials refinery. The input barrel is connected. Now, earth rock's second splitting reaction produces 4 elements, so we need 4 output barrels. 3 barrels are connected already. The 4th one should be nearby.
Need a barrel.
This barrel is partially filled with oxygen, which is one of the elements of the splitting earth rock's reaction. Plug it into a free output slot at the right side of the refinery. Good job! Now move to the control panel. We will finalize the last parameters before initiating the process. Note that you won't be able to proceed if you disconnect the power cable or, here is displayed the reactions list screen. It shows all the reactions the materials refinery is capable of processing. Select Split Earth Rock 2 to access the reactions details, required input materials, and expected output components. In our case, 5 units of earth rock, the input material, will generate 2 units of oxygen, 1 of silicon, 1 of aluminium, and 1 unit of iron, the 4 output components. The processing screen permits you to manage the reaction according to the raw material in input. Select the input slots, earth rock in our case, with the left mouse button.
Yes. Process earth rock into oxygen, silicon, yes, close.
Now, select all the output slots. Keep in mind that an incomplete or improper selection will cause an interruption of the process. Once all the correct slots are selected, the reaction is ready to be performed. Click on the process materials to proceed.
Yes. There. Process.
And voila! When the materials refinery is processing, you can monitor the decrease of the input material and the production of the output components as you wish. Now let's move on to the next device.
Yes, because there's so many small bottoms. Yes, so select here, rock. Select the split water. Yes. What is that? Resource tank?
This huge thing is the resource tank. It is used to store large quantities of resource.
Yes, resource tank. Let's have oxygen.
2 input slots for transferring from a barrel into the tank, and 2 output slots for collecting the stored resource into individual barrels, plus a simple display for capacity monitoring. It's as simple as that. Let's completely fill that oxygen barrel. Plug it into an output slot of the resource tank. As you can see, the quantity of resource decreases from the tank, filling up the barrel until it's full, or until the tank is depleted. The materials refinery should now have produced enough oxygen from the earth rock. Bring it to the resource tank.
Plug an oxygen barrel into an input slot. Yes, I did that. What now? Okay, I have to remove.
Observe the oxygen of the barrel being stored in the resource tank. No need to say that you can't plug in the barrel whose resource differs from the element stored in the tank. We're almost done. The last thing to learn is the 3D printer. Go through the gates to the printer testing area.
3D printer. Oh yes, you get now understand a little bit. Go from the ends. Yes, this one is drilling from the. That's the topsoil. It's drilling something from the ground, the rocks. Then you have the refinery. You put it inside there. Then you select on the screen what kind of erection. Then it go to this tank. Then you can store the resources inside the resource tanks. And this one was the what? Oh, this one was the topsoil. Earth soil. This is what it was, the topsoil. Yes, this is one was the drilling. This one do the drilling. This one is the drilling down in the ground. And this was the topsoil resources. Yes, this is a power hub to 6 power cables. That's the cables. That's the solar panels. Solar panels, you will get power, of course, into a power hub. And this was something about air. And it's 5 p.m. So 5:50 p.m. I have to open the screen on the camcorder. but I will charge the camcorder more, a few hours, then I will play again.